So it has been 2 months since I started my bullet journal experiment, and I think today, the day we call it a finale. Today is the day we make up our minds on whether it's for me or not. Welcome back to Stormin Norman Says. I'm Stormin Norman. That must mean I have some things to say. Today we're going to talk about bullet journaling. A couple months ago I made the decision to give it a shot. Seeing all these videos on YouTube. Seeing all these videos on YouTube back in the day when I first got into this whole journaling thing. And I was overwhelmed by all the artistic spreads and all the stuff. And I'm like, that stuff just ain't for me. That ain't for me. So then I decided a couple months ago to get the book. And I was like, we'll get the book, we'll read the book, we'll bullet journal according to the book and see if it works out. So I did that. And once you get about halfway through this book is when you can start your bullet journal, whatever point that is. But basically, like the first half of the book, he's kind of explaining to you the point, the purpose, how to set up your spreads. And then once you get about halfway through, he's like, all right, we'll go ahead and get started, and you read the rest of the book for other things that it teaches you. So I finished this book about, when did I start it? March maybe? February? It was earlier this year. And I finished it a couple weeks ago. I recommend it. Pretty good book. Last 5 chapters or so, didn't love it. But that was probably because I'd already given up on bullet journaling at that point. I did keep doing it because I was determined to do it for 60 days. He says in the book, try it for 2 or 3 months, and if you don't like it, then all right. So I'm like, I'm going to give it a try. And I gave it a try for 2 months. And about 2 weeks ago, I knew I was done with it. I was like, this ain't working for me. But I don't think it's a bad thing, and I'm going to talk about that. We're going to go desktop, and we're going to talk about my bullet journal and why I don't think it's for me and who I think it's for. So let's do that right now. All right, let's record all that again. I just sat there and talked for 15 minutes for no reason. This is what I kept my bullet journal in. Like the pocket or mini field journal. Can't remember what it's called. And I got some, this is Refine, like a knockoff field notes kind of, basically. I keep my YouTube stuff in there. This is what I kept my bullet journal in. And had my index here, future log, and then my May, and then my June, because I used it for 2 months. My legend. Had all this room in the index because in the book he said to keep enough room to expand your index, and I kind of thought I might get into all the different spreads and stuff that you can put in it, but I didn't. Then my future log, which I thought this was very helpful. I wrote down some YouTube videos that I wanted to make in the month of May, and I made them. Checked them off like you're supposed to do. June, do my tags, do the Denick video, do the Galen A6 follow-up, which I didn't do. I need to get on that. There's some stuff I need to do in July and whatnot. But this was pretty helpful. I like this. This part, A-okay. Monthly log, this is stupid. I don't understand what the heck the point of this is. You only have enough room for a couple words, and I'm like, what am I supposed to write there? Like, it seems pointless. So maybe it works out for you. I just did not see a point in it. Then my daily logs, and in my daily logs, I wrote stuff in here that I wouldn't have normally wrote in my Sterling ink planner that I was using before this, and I'm using again now. So I would write down what I had for lunch. I wrote down bills I paid, wrote down the kilt I wore on Fridays, and I even kept track of it on the weekends, which I don't do in my other planner because I don't really do anything on the weekend that needs to be kept track of. But I decided to stick with it daily, so I used it on the weekends too. And we got to this point, I started thinking to myself, I should record events because that's one of the things in the legend is events. So I started writing down things that happened to me during the day that I wanted to remember. Recorded the Doom Scroll video there. Overslept. My sketchbook arrived. Watched Backlash, the WWE pay-per-view. And just kept up with it. So on and so forth. Let's see, I think I finished a book at some point. Anyway, June started, and I didn't want to start the next. I did, even though I thought the monthly log was stupid. Like I was determined to stick with it. I did it again. I wrote it down, and once again, I didn't write a single thing in it. Set right there. But other than that, I'm like, what am I supposed to write in this? I don't understand. So, didn't do nothing with that. Up through June. I finished 2 books in June. I logged my allergies, being miserable. Kept writing what I eat for lunch and blah blah blah, this and that. The kilts I wear. There we go. I finished the book on Friday the 13th. My Scottish folklore book I was reading. I finished it. And then after that, I was kind of like gung-ho about finishing the bullet journal book. Where's that? There it is. On June 19th, I finished the bullet journal book. And it was at that point already, I was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. I like the way I used to do things. Wrote down my Mac Mini video, the first one I did when I had it a week. And this was last week. That was a 1-month Mac Mini review I did. Stella Vet, I kept putting that off. But I did finally do it yesterday. Right there, checked it off. And then the funny thing happened was I was, I hardcore kept up with this thing for 2 months until Friday. And I didn't even make an entry. I didn't even know I didn't do it. I just didn't make an entry in for Friday. So, there's no record of my Friday. The 27th, that would have been. And then I didn't keep up with it at all during the weekend. And I did it Monday because it was the last day of the month. And I'm like, okay, we got to close this out so we can make the video. And I did it Monday. And I did not read yesterday. Everything got done except for that. And that was it. I was done. After spending 2 months with it, I was done. And the thing is, this was the main part that I got the most use out of, was the daily logs. But the thing is, I was already doing that. I didn't use the same symbols and stuff that he used, like I am now. But it's the same thing I was doing in my Sterling ink. I was just using a checklist, but I was doing the same thing. So I'm like, this is kind of a whole lot of extra steps to do just to do the same thing I was already doing. So that was my experience with bullet journaling. And I don't hate it. I liked it to an extent. It was a pretty cool thing to learn about and try. But I'm just not busy enough for bullet. Especially once I got to the back of this book and was reading all the stuff he has in the back of it, and I'm like, I have no desire to do any of that. And like someone had commented in one of my videos, like I don't have a need to plan out every minute detail of my day. Neither do I. I don't either. Like, I write down in my planner my Sterling ink I've been using. Well, today. It was the first day I started using it again since April. I read, this is the same things that I wrote in here. 1 Corinthians 12, read that this morning. Read a chapter of a book or some part of a book. I did that. Work on my Sunday school lesson. Did that. I got to pay bills here in a minute when I finish this video. Record my Bujo video, which, hey, I'm doing that right now. And then I had lunch at the gas station. And that's all I need. I did add something this go around because this Sterling ink planner was a 2-part planner. So this is the second part that starts in July. And I did add somewhere the books I've read so far this year. I've read 4 books this year. So I'm hoping to read 3 more. So I've decided to keep a log of that. But as far like that, what was it? Future log. That's pretty good. I kind of like that. I'll probably find somewhere in this planner. Maybe in the back. Yeah, probably in the back. And I'll make another future log in the back because that seems helpful. But the monthly log, not helpful. And all the other collections, he calls them, all the other collections he says in here that you can do, like none of them seem like anything I'm interested in doing. But the idea behind them is good ideas. But if I was going to create another page for a specific topic that's only temporary, like I probably wouldn't put it in here. I'd probably just grab a piece of paper, scribble it out, whatever. But I don't need to plan my life that hard. I just need a short list of all the things I need to do today, which are 3 things that I do every day, that I try to do every day. Read my Bible, read my book, work on my Sunday school lesson. I try to do some of that every day, and then other tasks that I might like paying my bills is a Tuesday thing. I don't do it every day. So I need to remind myself every Tuesday to pay bills. Wednesdays when I go grocery shopping, so I need to keep track of that. But that's not a daily thing. This is a weekly thing. So there's certain tasks that change every day that I put in there or not. But as far as projects at work, I don't have projects at work. Meetings at work, I don't have meetings at work. All this other stuff that people put in their bullet journal, I keep track of this. I need to remember to talk to Tom about that project we're working on. I'm not working on no project with Tom. Like, my job is not that complicated. My day is not that complicated. There's just a few things that I need to remember to do. But I don't need to plan my trip to Tahiti. I ain't going to Tahiti. So I think the bullet journal method is good. Like the salespeople that I work with, I think it would be great for them. Not that they would ever do it, but it would be great for them. But for me, and like blue collar, normal people who don't have a whole lot of complication in their life, it just seems like a whole bunch of work for not a lot of, return on investment. So that's my 2-month experiment with the bullet journal method. Glad I read this book. There's a lot of good stuff in this book. A lot of good quotes, stuff like that. I enjoyed trying something new. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, I don't like that. That's not for me when I've never even tried it. So I can say I have tried it, and I can say it ain't for me. If it works for you, cool. I'm glad it works for you. But I'm just going to stick with my normal old boring planner that I use. And it works for me, and I like it. People talk about the journaling and stuff that you do, like I have 2 journals. So if I need to journal, I'll do it in one of them. I don't need this. I don't need to journal and plan at the same time. But some people do. Some people do need that help. And if you need that help, then by all means, let her rip, tater chip. Okay. Anyhow, wrapping up the experiment, getting back into my sterling ink, about to order my sterling ink for next year because someone gave me this planner. Never tried one before. Never really much had a planner before. I kind of just took a notebook and turned it into a planner. But this planner, the reason I like this one is the paper, and 2 is because it's already set up just like the one I used to use, the one I used to make. So it works out for me. So super happy to be back in my normal, boring planner, doing normal, boring things in it. I've been Stormin' Norman. I've said things. See y'all in the next one.